The Department of Homeland Security is launching a new operation targeting groups that smuggle immigrants across the southern border. It's called Operation Sentinel, and it's designed to cut off the way smugglers make their money. NBC News Justice correspondent Julia Ainsley joins us now with more on her reporting. So, Julia, let's pick up right there with what I just said. This effort isn't just about catching these human smugglers in the act. It's about disrupting that profit. So how is that going to work back on that front end?
That's right. So they say that they are going after people and property and profit, all of the above. They want to disrupt everything that was really part of a smuggling network. That means not just going after the person who might be carrying immigrants across the border, dropping children from a tall wall, as we've seen, but actually the people who are really orchestrating the whole network. They call these transnational criminal organizations. These aren't small operations. They're really part of a larger scheme, and they want to disrupt them so that they are no longer able to profit at least as much on such a lucrative business, which is to smuggle human beings across the border illegally.
And Julia, I want to ask you about something called Title 42. So this was put in place last year to try to stop the spread of COVID over the border, but many immigration experts are actually critical of it. So how has Title 42 affected human smuggling in the pandemic, and what is that criticism?
Well, Savannah, I'm glad you asked about that, because I think Title 42 has to be part of this conversation about smugglers. A lot of advocates and immigration experts say that they've actually seen an uptick not only in smuggling, but in the price that smugglers can charge while Title 42 has been in place. It started under the Trump administration. The Biden administration has continued it, expelling all immigrants except for unaccompanied children when they come to the southern border. So what that's doing is it's incentivizing smugglers who can try to sneak immigrants into the country undetected. And when they are expelled, there are actually very few consequences, so they could keep trying again and again. Advocates say this is really dangerous because it's instead putting these people's lives in the hands of smugglers rather than allowing them to come legally to our ports of entry and claim asylum, as they say they have the right to do. So that's really part of this conversation. When Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas was asked about that yesterday, he said, look, Title 42 has to remain in place in order to stop the pandemic. I should say that's something that public health experts have questioned, whether or not that really has an effect on U.S. rates. But he also said that at the same time, they need to address smuggling and that they are tackling both elements.
And part of the reason that this smuggling has to be addressed is exactly what you just mentioned a moment ago, seeing this video of toddlers dropped from the top of this border fence. I mean, it's just heartbreaking. Now, what do we know about what happens to those who have been smuggled over the border?
Well, right, Savannah. I mean, I think that those images, the 8-year-old that we saw in the desert approaching CBP saying he had been abandoned while he was asleep by smugglers were bringing him. Those are all really bringing this topic to the forefront of our attention right now, especially during this current influx of migrants. What happens to those people? Well, often, if they're lucky, they're found by Border Patrol. The children are allowed to stay, to be processed. Adults and many families are still expelled from the country. But it isn't that Operation Sentinel will necessarily be going after those people. They're really seen as the victims here of human smuggling.
Julia Ainsley, thank you so much.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.